As I was putting together one of my videos the other week, I stumbled across a Reddit thread that was giving people an opportunity to share their stories on why they had left the church. And one of these stories bothered me because it touched on the path that I've walked with God and my personal journey with Him. They related a story about how they needed to seek out help for a mental health issue that they were having, and the church that they were in at the time shamed and humiliated them for making this decision. The reasoning went something like this: as Christians, we are supposed to be wholly reliant upon God for all of our needs. And as a result, we shouldn't be seeking out medication for something that's happening inside of our brain. Now, I understand why they make this argument, because we see throughout the Bible people relying upon God and God providing for His people for their needs. Not only does this happen in the Bible, but most of us who have lived a Christian life has seen this happen, where God will provide for us something that we needed. But here's the thing: as much as we would like to try and say that we are wholly reliant upon God for all of our needs, this is not true. We do not trust in God to provide all of our needs for us today. When my truck needs to be filled with gas, I don't wait for God to fill my truck with gas. I drive down to the local gas station and fill it up. I also don't wait for God to provide for me the food to go in my pantry and fridge. I go down to the local grocery store and buy what I need. Now, if I forget something, God doesn't miraculously say, "Oh, look, David forgot butter. I'm going to miraculously put butter in his fridge." No, I have to go back to the store and buy butter. And when we're sick, like I am a little bit today, we can pray for God to heal us, and sometimes He miraculously does. But for the most part, we go to the doctors if we're really sick, or we go and get some drugs from the local pharmacy. When I broke my arm on my 9th birthday, after my mom screamed bloody murder when she realized how bad it was broken, she didn't stop and pray over my arm to see if God would miraculously heal it. She shoved me into the family station wagon, ran every red light that she found going to the hospital, and got me there so that the doctors who have the skill could fix my arm. The truth is, we don't rely on God to provide all of our needs. And it's wrong to shame somebody who seeks out medical help for a mental health problem. We live today in a time and place in which God has providentially given us access to things that the vast majority of people throughout history have not had an opportunity to have. And we need to make use of those opportunities that God has given us. We need to make use of those doctors, of those physicians, of all the things that God has given us, and praise Him for those things. From a solid roof over our head to having bread that we don't have to go out and harvest the wheat, grind the wheat, get yeast, and make the bread ourselves, that we can just go buy it ourselves from the grocery store. Doctors that can heal us with penicillin, with vaccines, with just the normal knowledge that they have, that people in the past would not have even had access to. Now I realize, as Christians, we desperately want to rely on God for all of our needs and take His word seriously. But here's the thing: to single out one aspect of the human condition that somebody in your church or you can't seek help for is just mind-boggling to me. Now, I'm going to admit to you, I'm a little bit biased when it comes to this topic, because for me, there's been a couple times in my life that I've had to seek out mental health professionals and been on medication. Now, these weren't easy times in my life. They were rather difficult. And I didn't just jump on the medication train because I thought it was going to help. I did seek out my pastor. I did talk to friends in the church. And yes, they did pray for me. But there was a point in which I realized that it wasn't enough. And when I did make the decision to take medication, that those in my church, they didn't shame me or humiliate me, saying that, "Oh, you're not relying on God." No, they were there. They were kind and they were compassionate, and they were willing to continue with me in this journey that I was on. No one thought that I was weak or that I had stopped relying on God for anything. They knew, and I want you to know, that those mental health professionals were there for me, and so was my church. And they didn't think that I wasn't relying on God less. They realized that I was just utilizing the things that God has put in this place, in this world for me to use. Now, of course, this means I'm going to struggle with what does it mean to rely totally and wholly on God when I have so many good things that God has put into this world that I have access to? So I'm still trying to figure that out. But let me be clear. I do know what it's not. It's not shaming a person for seeking out mental health professionals to help them with an issue that they're having, and using the resources that God has given us today in this world. Now, as I was making this video, and I didn't plan this, but this month, the month of May, is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm going to leave some links in the description below. And remember, there is no shame in asking for help from a mental health professional. There is no shame going on medication. God has put in place these things that we can use for the betterment of us and for His kingdom. So that's where I'm going to end this video. Like it, give it a thumbs up, and share it, let other people know. And of course, subscribe right about there. That's where I'm going to put that. And have a good day, and God bless.